Hi everybody, I'm JJ, you're watching Reality Survival, and today we're going to talk about 20-ish, yeah, something like that, 20 prepper myths that need to die. They need to just go away, you know. Alright, I guess the first one is, maybe it's just a myth, it might not be a prepper myth. Oh crap, hang on. Hello. Okay, spam calls, hate them. All right, so number one is the government is here to help you. It should be clear by now. Well, it's probably been clear for a long time. The government's not here to help you. Big corporations are not here to help you, and you need to be self-reliant. All right, that's a pretty easy one. Second one, I'm sure this is going to get the comment section going, and that's cool. These kind of videos do that, you know. But AR versus AK. The AR is a better platform. Period. Full stop. AKs are cool. You know, they're good guns, but they're not even comparable to an AR in my opinion. The reliability, accuracy, modularity. Common, you know, use here in the States. Now, if you live somewhere else, then maybe you'd want to think about an AK platform, but you know, this is mostly for American viewers. Yeah, ARs are just all around better nowadays. There was a time when you could make the argument, you could kind of go back and forth, you know, a little bit. This whole idea that AKs don't jam is utter nonsense. that they, you know, that they'll work no matter what and all this kind of stuff. Garbage. Seen tons of them fail. And so anyway, yeah, the bottom line is that the AR platform is a better platform than the AK platform. And you know, you can disagree, that's cool. Number 3 is 9mm versus 45. 9mm is a better round to carry in your EDC weapon, in case you're wondering. A lot of people out there that are diehard, you know, if it don't start with a 4, then it ain't no good and all that, or a 1, you know, 45 and 40 caliber and 10mm and all that kind of nonsense. Look, the difference in the ballistics is minimal at best with today's technology and the ammunition that they have. And when you consider that you get additional rounds and all that kind of thing, less muzzle rise, you can stay on target better and all that kind of stuff, 9mm is just better. So that's the way it is. Number 4, EMPs will knock out all electronics on all vehicles, and all vehicles. No, nothing will run. That's not necessarily true. The congressional study that was done, which I don't know why anybody would really trust what Congress says. Of course, they're not the ones that did the study, they just commissioned it. But I think it was they estimated somewhere in the neighborhood of 60% or so, and with varying degrees of failures in those groups, where some of them you may be able to disconnect the battery, you know, do a hard reset, reconnect it, and then be able to get it to start. Some of them just not going to work at all, not going to start at all. It all just depends on the amount of shielding in the vehicle, and there's lots of different variables and all that kind of stuff. If you guys want to make sure that your vehicle will be good to go, you can put an EMP shield on it. You can save $50 by using the discount code Reality Survival. I'll put an affiliate link down in the description below. You can also put those on your home to protect the electronics inside your home and all that kind of stuff too. Here's another good one on this, along the same lines. Number 5 is CMEs will knock out, that's a coronal mass ejection, will knock out small handheld electronics. A lot of people think that's not the case. CMEs are primarily going to be disruptive to long transmission lines, not small individual electronics like radios and red dots and night vision and, you know, those kinds of things. Now, EMPs, on the other hand, could potentially affect smaller devices. Again, depending on the amount of shielding that's built in them when they're produced. Some devices like small handheld radios and stuff already have some degree of shielding in there, believe it or not. on at least on some of your higher end radios. And it also depends on the size of the object. The size of the object is relative to the amount of energy that the object will conduct, basically. And so the smaller the object, the less likely it is that it'll be affected. Now, that doesn't mean that microchips and stuff still won't be affected if they're in a bigger device like a vehicle and those kinds of things. But it's all about the way that the skin effect works. It's kind of complicated, and I'm not an electrician, so I'm probably not the best person to explain it. But essentially, it has to do with size primarily, as far as how much energy it's going to absorb during an EMP. And coronal mass ejections just don't put out that same pulse length, pulse width, whatever you want to call it, that an actual EMP does from a high altitude nuclear blast. Okay, so that wasn't confusing enough. We'll move on to the sixth one, and that is expiration dates on canned foods means that when you hit that date, you can't eat it anymore. That's not the case. Since 1987, there haven't been expiration dates on canned foods. There's only been best by dates. And that means that they recommend eating it by that date. And that way, well, it does a couple of things. It gives you the most freshness, per se. And then also it gets the company the best profits, because that encourages you to eat the food and get new ones and not keep it on your shelf. I did a lesson on the length of how long a lot of canned foods will stay. It is on my website, AmericanPreppingAcademy.com. You can check out and download that whole spreadsheet. It basically breaks down how much food you'd need for a family of 4 for a year. It shows the name and type of food, how long it lasts, what the calories are. I don't remember what other components we had on there, and how many of those, like a recommendation on how many to get or something. So you can check that out at the website. Sign up on the email list while you're there if you would. Number 7 is treated wood cannot be used when making gardens. Now, if you have old treated wood, the old CCX stuff with the copper, chromium, arsenic or something like that, then you don't want to use treated wood. If you use the newer stuff, apparently it is not as bad. That's what they say. Now, you could just use cedar or cypress or something like that that's going to be a little bit more rot resistant, and then not have to worry about it. But if that's all you've got, then you can use those in, like, raised bed gardens and stuff, and it's not going to be a big deal. All right, number 8, there will be a golden horde exiting large cities if there's a big SHTF situation. This is nonsense. I did this on a video on this in the past, kind of fully explained it, but as reliant as the majority of the people in the population are on city and government services, I believe that it's very unlikely that you're going to see a mass exodus from the cities. Now, you could have some traffic problems and stuff like that, because depending on the nature of the disaster, you could have blocked roads, different things of that nature. They may be trying to control traffic or even stop traffic from leaving, and who knows. So there could be traffic issues. I'm not saying that, but the idea that thousands and thousands of people are going to leave their home and the security of the city and roam out and about in the wilderness is just not true. It's a myth that has been perpetrated in the prepper community for so long that everybody just kind of accepts it as fact, and I don't think there's any basis for it. I really don't. That's just me. I could be wrong. Let's see. Number 9. Food boredom is a real psychological condition that can cause significant weight loss and even starvation. And a lot of people will say, well, if I've got rice, beans, corn, whatever else, wheat, then I'll never starve to death. Okay? Well, I'm here to tell you that there are people in third world countries who live off of nothing but rice and beans who starve all the time. Okay? It happens. And what the process of this is, it's a strange phenomena, but your brain, when you eat, and I did a video talking about this at length too, so I won't go too in depth, but when you eat the same thing over and over again, your brain starts to reject it, and you just don't like it. It doesn't taste palatable, and you don't want to eat it. And so what happens is you eat less and less and less over a period of time. I'm talking about a period of months, you know what I'm saying? Then you eat less and less and less, and so you end up consuming less and less calories. Your body starts to, basically eat itself, and then you start to fall into malnutrition and all that kind of stuff. So it's important when you're putting up your food preps, when you're doing your prepping, that you layer your foods. You have a good selection of the foods that you always eat. Okay, that should make up probably, I don't know, man, maybe 50-60% of your food storage. Okay, and again, you can get foods that last a long time, and you can keep those and rotate through them. Some of these foods you can get in the grocery store last easily 5 years. Rotate through those. Stock a lot of that stuff that you normally eat. Then you want to have a mixture of freeze-dried foods, dehydrated foods, and dried goods, stuff that lasts a long time, but you also have a variety. That's the key thing about getting those buckets and stuff like that, is it offers you a variety of menus so that you can keep a variety of flavors, and that will keep you healthier in the fact that you won't experience food boredom. And then that probably should be, I don't know, another 20 or 30% of your food stocks. And I'm just throwing out numbers here. Don't hold me to these estimations. I'm saying just break it up basically. And then on the last portion is your rice and beans and all that raw kind of food materials and stuff. And that'll make up the remainder of it. But you don't want to just have nothing but rice and beans. It's a bad idea. It really is. So make sure you vary it up. Make sure you've got variety. Okay, enough on that one. Let's see here. Number 10, there will be no animals to hunt after SHTF. This is another one that's just silly, and it makes no sense to me. Let's say we have an EMP, right? That's like the bad one, right? That's the one that everybody fears. And the statistic that everybody throws out is 90% of the population will be dead within 2 years. That comes from the congressional study, supposedly. Some people say 1 year. I believe it's actually 24 months. But anyway, and the idea is that everybody's going to be hunting, within that year. And all these people that were never hunters are going to pick up guns, and they're going to go out and they're going to kill all these deer and turkey and everything, and it's going to just extinguish the wildlife. Well, the problem with that is that deer and turkey and all these other game animals know the woods a lot better than you do. And they will go nocturnal. They won't move during the daytime. They won't move in mornings and nights. They will move into more and more secluded areas. They can cover large numbers, large sections of land in a day to get away from heavy hunting pressure. Okay, many miles. They can move many miles in a day, and they will do that. They will move out into the areas. And like I said earlier, the majority of the people are going to stay in the cities and wait for government help and all that kind of stuff. They're going to get killed off in there. Now there might be some additional hunting pressure for a while, but you also have to figure in that you're not going to have vehicles running all over the place. So you're not going to have nearly as many deaths from car accidents and all that stuff. Then the population is going to start dying off, within months. And it's getting lower and lower and lower, our human population. And by 24 months, it's going to be down to about 10% of it. So within a season or two, you will have abundant wildlife. There'll be more wildlife than you'll know what to do because of the overall lack of pressure. It's just my opinion, again. I might be wrong. All right. Let's see here. Okay, number 11 is I will bug in and I never will bug out. Or we could change it to I will bug out immediately and go and stay in the woods. Both of those are wrong. The idea of them is wrong. You should plan for your situation, and it might be that you need to bug in or bug out, but you need to be able and ready to do both. That's the key thing here. My plan, I mean, unless there was something that caused me to have to leave, I'm not planning on bugging out. Now, I might do a tactical retreat if, let's say, somebody came and took over my house or something, caught me by surprise, ran me out. I might do a tactical retreat, but I'm going to come back and retake it when they're not ready. You know what I'm saying? And then, but there could be some circumstances that could just cause you to have to move, you know. And so you've got to be prepared. You know, a lot of people talk about not having a bug out bag and all that kind of stuff anymore. That seems to be fashionable. I don't really think that's very smart. I think it's smart to go ahead and keep them on hand, because you just never know, you know, what the circumstances might be. So it could be important to do both. All right. Number 12. This one kills me. Tampons are great for plugging bullet wounds. Nope. They're not. If you compare the amount of gauze in a compressed gauze package to a tampon, you will see that the tampon is severely lacking. All right. Can they be used? Sure. You could put a bunch of them in there if you had to, or something like that. But it's way better to just plan for having actual compressed gauze and quick clot and, you know, pressure bandages and the right kind of material. If you're having the forethought to go and buy tampons for first aid, just buy the regular first aid material. It's so much smarter. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, that was number 12. Number 13, being a gray man will keep you from being a target during SHTF. So the general idea here is that something bad has happened. And so, you know, there's a lack of law enforcement, there's a lack of government, whatever, society has fallen, whatever you want to talk about it, whatever you want to call it. And so you're going to just be the gray man, right? You're going to blend in. You're not going to wear any clothing that stands out, and you're going to go to and from your business, and nobody's going to bother you. The problem is that's not necessarily true. And I've talked about this in several videos. Being a gray man is a concept that is essentially doing whatever you need to do to further your mission accomplishment. And sometimes that means blending in. Other times it means standing out. It just depends. If getting to the local market and back unimpeded means that you have to dress up in your, you know, with your whole full kit and your battle rifle and your plate carrier and all that jazz, and you and your team move and, you know, all that kind of thing, if that is what enables you to get there and back safely, then that's being a gray man. Okay. In a target, when there's no law enforcement and people have the ability to act however they want and take the stuff that you got. Let's say you just went to the market and you're on your way home, you got all your stuff, and you're walking because you don't have a vehicle or whatever. Somebody may see you, and if you don't look like you can defend yourself, if you don't look like you were, you know, overtly going to put up a fight, then they may be more willing to engage you. So being the typical quote-unquote gray man may not be the best option. Okay? All right. So it all depends. The ultimate thing here is you've got to be flexible. It all really just depends. Okay. Oh, number 14. You should make your home look like it's abandoned during a SHTF situation. Now, I talked about this once in a video. It's actually one of my most popular videos. And I don't know if I fully explained it entirely enough. There's a thin line you have to walk. If you're in a situation where has been a collapse, and my dogs are being annoying, and you have to stay in your home, okay, you don't have anywhere to go, or it doesn't make sense to leave for whatever your situation is, or whatever the case may be, and you're in a neighborhood or something like that, there's a fine line you have to walk between making your house look perfectly lived in and making your house look completely abandoned, okay? Because if you make it look completely abandoned, people who are roaming from house to house scavenging supplies are going to absolutely go to that abandoned house. 100%. You're making yourself a target. That's probably not a good idea. Now, you may want to fortify it, put up some boards on your windows, you know, do some things like that show that, yeah, people still live here, but don't mess with us. Try to harden your house. Try to, you know, who knows, man, and maybe even take a couple rows of barbed wire and stretch it out or something like that. Now, you've also got the opposite side of the problem that happens when you do that can also make your house a target for bigger groups as well. It could. It's possible. But leaving it look totally abandoned is absolutely going to make it a target for every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes through the area and sees it. So the better option is to be more prepared, be ready for a fight, be able to set up a defensive situation. Hopefully you've laid out your landscape features and all that kind of stuff so that you can, you know, actually utilize those things for cover and concealment and all that kind of stuff. I talked about some of this in the home defense lesson that I did on American Prepping Academy as well. Anyway, enough on that one. Just don't make your house just look abandoned, because you're going to get tons of attention. Let's see here. Number 15 is prepping by stacking gold and silver is a good thing. What I generally say is if you have everything else done and there's nothing that you can think of you could possibly add to your preps as a force multiplier to make it better, then think about gold and silver. It is the absolute last thing that you should buy, in my opinion. It's just me. Inflation and all that kind of stuff, to me the smartest thing to do is get into tangible goods. Get your food stocks, get all those tools and things that you need, get, you know, self-defense items, get ammo, get guns, get whatever, and then you know, get your force multipliers like your night vision, your thermal, you know, all that kind of jazz. And then if everything is done and you're totally good, then start thinking about some gold. But even way before then, you make sure you get out of debt. I would even invest in Bitcoin before gold and silver, personally. I think Bitcoin makes a whole lot of sense right now, and it's doing real well. So, and all kinds of cryptos, anything. That was number 15. Number 16, hollow fiber membrane filters are awesome. So hollow fiber membrane filters, we're talking about like the Sawyers, the Life Straws, and those kinds of things. Those types of filters are not great. I did a video on it a long time ago showing you guys just how delicate those little hollow fiber tubes become after they dry out. They are very delicate, and the thing is those units are totally sealed up and you can't see whether or not they break. They could break with back pressure, just cleaning them out. They could break from freezing and cracking when they get dry in a hot environment. If you're going to use those kind of filters, that's fine, but you have to replace them every year, especially if you take them out in the field and they've gone through a freeze cycle, for sure. But even in hot environments and stuff, and in a car, you know, if you left it in your get home bag and all that kind of stuff, high heat and everything, that's just drying those things out, and they are a disaster waiting to happen. Okay, that's 16. Number 17 is never barter ammo. That's so dumb. So dumb. Listen, any barter situation that you ever approach, you should always assume that they're going to try to take advantage of you and ambush you. I don't care if you're doing it for band-aids or beans or bullets. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. You approach every situation like they are going to attack you. You don't know if they have... The prevailing wisdom with this whole myth is that, well, if you give them bullets, then they're going to use them against you. Dude, you don't have any idea if they have ammo or not. You need to assume that they do. You need to assume that they are coming loaded for bear. All right? And the thing is that you might be able to change that ammo for medicine or something that you really need to keep one of your family members alive. And that's fine. There's no problem with trading goods. That's cool. You always do it in a situation that makes sense for you tactically. You want to make sure that you set it up so that you can go into a place and set things up so that you can have people covering you and all that kind of stuff, and you just assume that it's going to go sideways. You plan for that ahead of time, and if it doesn't, that's great. But you got to plan like it will, no matter what you're trading. Okay? All right. Next one is, I'll be a lone wolf, and I don't need people to survive. These are the guys that are going to die first. All right? They're going to die faster than the dudes in the cities, probably. At least people in the cities, they'll gang up, they'll get in groups, you know, and it'll be big group against big group, and it'll take a while, you know, for that to all fall apart. You're going to die quickly in the woods, you know, unless you have extensive experience. And I'm not talking about just weekend trips to the woods, okay? It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about extensive field experience for multiple weeks on end. Okay, I was a U.S. Air Force SEER instructor, class 9702. Did it for about 4 years. Taught about 500 aircrew members how to survive in the wilderness. And I would not want to just go out in the woods and stay for as long as I could. Could I? Not at my age, probably, and my physical capability right now and all that kind of stuff. I'd have a hell of a time. I have the knowledge to probably be able to pull it off for a while, especially up in the training area. If I was in that training area where I used to practice, and I knew a lot of the edibles and all that jazz. But man, it's just a bad idea, and you really need to think about groups, and you need to think about local groups, local ones that you can walk to. I'm talking about people that you can make contact with. And, you know, Southern Prepper One's been talking about this lately. I give him credit for recognizing this fact, and it's something that I've also spoken about, but he put it into words better than I could. After the big thing happens, which, as you guys know, I'm not sure that the big thing is ever going to happen. I think it's more likely a long, slow slide, but that's how we talk about these things in hypothetical manner, right? So, if there was a big event that caused, you know, a lot of problems, hopping in your car and driving even 25 or 30 minutes to get to a mutual assistant group location or something like that, it's probably going to be a pretty dangerous thing to do. So you really want to focus local. Who are your neighbors? Who are the people that live around you? Who are, you know, those people that are, you know, reasonable distance? I mean, I think a good rule of thumb is, like, if you could get on an ATV and get to their house in 10 or 15 minutes, that's probably close enough, you know. Any further than that, I don't know how much help you're really going to be able to be to each other. So think about that. And then, you know, along with that, I'll just throw this in here real quick. I was going to do a separate video on it, and I probably still will, but if you're thinking about moving, you need to do it quick. All right, there are a lot. My wife is a realtor, and if you want, contact me, realitysurvival@protonmail.com, and I can have my wife find a realtor for you. I'll give you a questionnaire sheet of a bunch of questions that, you know, helps us to describe the kind of property that you're looking for, and then she can contact that realtor and do a referral. She'll get a small fee for doing that, but she'll try to find somebody that is a good realtor for you and understands what you're looking for. But anyway, if you're going to buy a house, you need to soon. And the reason is right now in the real estate markets all around the country, and I'm talking about, there's a lot of big money being put into buying homes, small homes, medium-sized homes, and more expensive homes out in the country. And these are this is corporate money that's being put into buying these homes because they realize that the rental market is a really good investment right now. Okay, so interest rates are still low. If you're going to do it, you need to do it soon. And and you don't have to use me or my wife or whatever. Contact your own realtor. That's cool too. If you are I'll give you another little tip. If you are a cop, a veteran, a school teacher, or a healthcare professional, or an EMT, you can go to the Homes for Heroes program, and they will give you cash back on your purchase and give you a little bit extra money. So it's kind of a cool way to make money. My wife used to do that program. She doesn't anymore, but just because the cost to be in it was a lot, and she doesn't really work a whole lot right now. She's just kind of does it part-time. But anyhow, it'll give you about if you're buying, it'll give you about $700 per $100,000 that you spend. So if you buy a $300,000 house, you get about $2,100 back. So it's kind of cool. Homes for Heroes is the program. Anyway, but yeah, if you want to contact me, I can have her. We'll discuss things back and forth on email. I'll give you that questionnaire, and I will have her try to find somebody that really understands what you're looking for, and get you guys a place, because you really need to get out of the city. If you can get out of the city and you have an hour-long commute every day, you should do that. You should absolutely do that, without even hesitation. Just without hesitation. If you could, from wherever you're at, if you could move an hour outside the city, okay, so that your commute is somewhere around an hour, that puts you in most of the cities in America. No, not all of them, not some of the big metropolises and stuff, but in most of the cities in America, that is going to put you in so much better of a situation if and when something, bad happens. I can't even describe to you how much better a situation you're going to be in, and how much happier you will be living. I mean, look where I'm at. I love it. I love it out here. I sleep very well at night. I don't regret it even a little bit. So highly recommend that. Okay, I pounded on that one enough. Okay, number 19 is medicines will expire at their expiration date. Not true. Liquid medicines, you need to pay attention to the expiration date and not go really very much past it. Also, I believe, I'm just going off the top of my head here, I think it's nitrates, like for heart attack and stuff. Those also have an expiration date. Other than that, and don't hold me 100% to that, but the vast majority of small dry pills in capsules are going to last a very long time. 10 years or more. The DoD did a study on this. I think I did a video on this a while back too, and they retain more than 90% of their effectiveness past 10 years. So medicines, dry medicines in tablet form, generally speaking, don't expire. Okay, number 20, and I touched on this briefly. A big collapse will happen suddenly, and it'll be catastrophic. That's not what's going to happen, in my opinion. It becomes more and more clear to me every day that we are already about 5/8 the way down the hill in the long, slow slide. That was my Alerts USA. If you guys don't have Alerts USA, you really should. I'm an affiliate with them. I've got a link. I'll put a link to them in the description below. They send you a text message at the development of any major threat that's happening around the United States all the time. If you use my link, then you can save 25 bucks on the yearly subscription. I think it's normally 100 and you can get it for like 75. It's a good deal, man. It really keeps, drop my phone. It really keeps me informed on just what's going on in the world, and I just don't even really have to worry about too much, because I mean I have a steady stream of emails that come to my inbox too, but it's, you know, very rare that something will pop up in an email that I haven't gotten from Alerts USA. But anyway, I think we are already, like I said, probably 5/8 of the way down the long, slow slide into another country, a new world, a whatever you want to call it, a socialist dystopia, an oligarchy. I don't really care what you call it. It ain't America. All right, we'll just put it that way. And it's becoming more and more clear that conservatives are unable or unwilling to organize and to do anything about it as far as being active in the political system and getting out there and changing things. I don't know. We'll see what happens, you know, at the next elections and all that kind of stuff. My guess is that based off of what happened in the last election, we probably aren't going to win anymore. Might be wrong. Who knows? But kind of doubt it. So it's good to be prepared. All right, so that was 20. Bonus here, 21. Just to make sure that I pissed everybody off, at least on one of these. The Glock 19 is the best pistol for EDC. It's not, unfortunately. I've said this for a while now. I think that there is definitely one pistol that is better, but there's probably several. And I think that Tim over at Military Arms Channel talked about this recently as well. And I've said this for a couple of years. The Glock 19 is a fine weapon. I don't have anything against it. But we're basically at the point now where you can almost make the same argument that the Glock guys made to the 1911 guys, because Glock's getting old. It's getting outdated. You've got firearms that have the same amount of capacity, the same size or smaller, that are just better and more updated, more reliable, and they just are. So it's not necessarily the best EDC anymore. You've got the Shield Plus now. It's come out with a double stack Smith & Wesson Shield, which I'll be getting soon. I haven't gotten it yet. I've carried the Shield for a long time, but and then just the Smith & Wesson M&P M2.0 4-inch is basically the same gun as a Glock, but better. It's got, you know, dual slide rails. It's just built better. It's more comfortable to shoot, more accurate. I don't know. It's as accurate. I don't know if you can say more accurate. You got the SIG P365. There's just several guns out there now that are just every bit as good as the Glock 19. So I think we've probably pissed off just about everybody. So it's probably my cue to get off here now. This has been a long video. So anyway, guys, take care, and yeah, we'll see you on another video here shortly. Don't forget to live 6 P's. Proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. Stay safe.